Andrew Goston was born on July 10, 1993, in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, England. He lived with his parents in the Balby area and had a sister named Charlotte. The family didn't have their children baptized, as they didn't want to impose their own beliefs on them. Andrew was known by the nickname Roo. He was very successful in his education and regularly attended Macaulay Catholic High School. He was part of a program called Gifted and Talented for Gifted and Successful Students, and it was expected that he would achieve the highest grades in his GCSE exams. These are a series of academic exams applied in the United Kingdom and some other countries at the secondary level. They are typically conducted for students aged 1-6 to assess their knowledge and skills in various subjects. GCSE exams are an important part of the education system in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland and form the basis for the university admission process. Andrew had won awards, particularly in mathematics, and it was considered likely that he would attend Cambridge University. In the summer of 2006, he participated in a 2-week summer school at Lancaster University and greatly enjoyed the experience. Andrew was generally a quiet and introverted teenager who liked to spend time at home. His family noted that he rarely left the house, and when he did, he always informed them of where he was going. Although he had a small group of friends, he didn't socialize much with them outside of school. In his free time, he enjoyed playing video games and listening to metal music. He listened to bands like Slipknot and Funeral for a Friend. He also wore strong glasses, was deaf in his left ear, and had a distinctive double whorl on his right ear. Although Andrew was 14 years old, he looked younger than his peers. His family stated that Andrew showed no signs of depression before his disappearance, and there were no indications that he was being bullied. He had no problems at school or home and was generally described as a happy teenager. In the days before his disappearance, however, it was noticed that he deviated from his usual routine and walked to school twice. The situation caught his family's attention. Andrew's disappearance was discovered when his family couldn't find him at home for dinner. The family was worried and thought Andrew might have gone to school that day. But when they realized he wasn't in his room at dinner time, they sensed something was wrong. Initially, they thought Andrew might be at a friend's house, but when they called his friends, they learned that Andrew hadn't gone to school at all. This information sent his family, in particular, into great panic, as Andrew was a responsible and reliable teenager, and such behavior was entirely out of character for him. His family reported him missing to the police. Around 7 p.m. his sister Charlotte expressed the panic of that moment, saying, "At first, we thought maybe something happened. Maybe he had an accident on the way to school or got lost somehow. But finding out later that he hadn't gone to school at all worried us much more." The police began searching Andrew's school route and surroundings. Immediately after the report, these initial searches, which also involved his family and neighbors, continued until midnight, but no trace could be found. The police began taking Andrew's disappearance more seriously and investigated the places he frequently visited. His family thought he might have gone to the train station or taken a bus somewhere else, but it was impossible to find any trace. 3 days later, the police's conversation with the ticket officer at Doncaster Station directed the investigation toward London. The ticket officer recalled that a young child wanted to buy a single ticket and, despite being offered a return ticket, insisted on a one-way ticket. After the police reviewed security cameras at Doncaster Station and confirmed that Andrew had traveled to London by train, the investigation focused on London. Security camera footage showing Andrew arriving at King's Cross Station showed him leaving the station at 11:25 a.m. The police tried to trace his next steps by examining security cameras around the station. These efforts, however, were unsuccessful. No further clues could be found about where Andrew went after King's Cross. This situation made the investigation complex, as despite the information obtained from witnesses who saw Andrew, his whereabouts remained uncertain. Andrew's family went to London and distributed flyers and posters in museums, concert venues, and popular areas they thought their son might be interested in. The police also focused their investigation on these locations, but none of the leads helped trace Andrew's whereabouts. At the beginning of the incident, the police largely focused their Investigation on Andrew's family and surroundings. Andrew's father, Kevin Gostin, was initially treated as a suspect and interrogated under pressure. Kevin expressed his grief over the police's accusatory attitude and stated that this misdirected approach in the early stages of the investigation led to significant time loss. After it was determined that the family was completely innocent, the police intensified their efforts to find potential witnesses in London and people who had seen Andrew. There were several suspicious statements about Andrew being seen after King's Cross. One witness said they saw a teenager who looked very much like Andrew at a Pizza Hut restaurant in London, but the police didn't investigate this statement further. The family was dissatisfied that the police didn't adequately evaluate such leads. Apart from this statement, there was also a claim that Andrew was seen in Covent Garden a few days later. But since the police only contacted the witness after 6 weeks, this lead had gone cold. In the first weeks of Andrew's disappearance, about 120 witness statements were collected, 45 of which were from London and 11 from Brighton. As searches around possible routes near King's Cross yielded no results, the police focused on areas like Covent Garden and Soho. One witness stated on September 17 that a child resembling Andrew was lying in Southwark Park. However, this information couldn't be verified either. Another witness claimed Andrew was seen on a train from Waterloo to Mortlake. This witness said the child resembling Andrew was wearing thicker clothing and walked silently the entire way. Despite these leads, Andrew's trail is lost every time, and the statements of those who saw him cannot be verified. This made his disappearance an ever-growing mystery and led the police to work on various theories. Over the years, many theories about Andrew's disappearance have been proposed, and the police and his family continued their investigations by evaluating different possibilities. However, where Andrew went and why he traveled to London remains uncertain. Here are the prominent theories. It is known that Andrew was a fan of metal music. On the evening of September 14, 2007, music bands like 30 Seconds to Mars and Sixth, which were close to his preferred genre, had concerts in London. In particular, the fact that the band Sixth was giving a farewell concert at that time suggested that this concert might have held special significance for Andrew. Another detail that strengthened this theory was the easy accessibility of the concert venue in Brixton from King's Cross. Additionally, there was a YouTube event in 2007. His family thought Andrew might have wanted to attend such an event, but no evidence could be found of Andrew's particular interest in YouTube. This theory was thoroughly investigated by the police and his family, but no concrete evidence could be obtained that Andrew attended these concerts or events. The possibility that Andrew might have gone to London to meet someone he didn't know was also considered. However, it was determined that Andrew didn't use the internet much at home or school, and didn't have a social media account or an internet-connected gaming account. His family also stated that Andrew didn't have an email address or social media accounts. The police also evaluated the possibility that Andrew might have experienced an internal crisis due to his sexual identity or personal preferences and fled to London. Andrew's family said he might have had difficulty opening up about this topic, but no evidence could be found that Andrew was experiencing a sexual orientation or other identity crisis. Andrew's family suggested that he might have imitated the story of a character named Reginald Pereng. This character abandons his old life and creates a new identity. The idea that Andrew, with an identity crisis or a desire to pursue a different path in life, made a sudden escape supported this theory. His family stated that they didn't think Andrew had previously expressed or planned such a desire to disappear. Andrew's personality, his attachment to his family, and his behavior before the disappearance, however, don't fully align with this theory. The police also considered that Andrew might have been abducted after arriving in London. In 2021, this theory was considered confirmed, but there is no direct evidence of an abduction or that he was the target of a crime. According to some theories, it is thought that Andrew, after leaving King's Cross, might have had an accident or harmed himself while wandering alone. Especially in a large city like London, there are various dangers like rivers and abandoned areas. After Andrew's disappearance, his family conducted a special sonar investigation in the Thames, but couldn't obtain any findings. Andrew's decision to walk to school in the days before his disappearance, instead of taking the school bus, was, according to his family, unusual behavior. However, since he showed no signs of depression or a crisis, this theory was considered weak. The strongest theory in Andrew's disappearance is that he voluntarily went to London and planned to meet someone there. However, why he made this decision or whom he might have met remains uncertain, although the police couldn't obtain evidence to confirm this theory. The idea that Andrew went to London to see someone was long considered the main theory. According to some researchers, Andrew might have gone to meet someone he had met and was detained by that person in London. Although years have passed, the truths behind Andrew's disappearance have not been uncovered. The latest arrests made in the course of the investigation also yielded no results. The family and police do not rule out that he may have disappeared voluntarily or due to a danger, and the investigation continues. Unraveling some mysteries is very difficult, and justice can sometimes remain hidden in the dark. These three stories show us how young lives can vanish without a trace and what deep scars they leave on their families. While the search for answers continues, the hope for resolution persists. Zeb Quinn was an 18-year-old young man living in Asheville, North Carolina, on January 2, 2000. He set out with a co-worker to look at a car, but Quinn was never seen again after that evening. It remained a mysterious case full of disturbing details, unsolved for 23 years. After work, Zeb met up with his colleague, Robert Jason Owens. Owens said Zeb wanted to buy a new car, and he was showing him a vehicle, so they drove off together. During the drive, Zeb received a call on his phone. After this conversation, he returned, appearing very shaken. He apologized and said he had to continue on his own after that. Nothing was ever heard from Zeb again. After Zeb's disappearance, Owens called Walmart on January 4th, where Zeb worked. He pretended to be Zeb and said he couldn't come to work. The situation seemed strange to Zeb's family and heightened their concerns about his disappearance. 2 weeks after Zeb Quinn's disappearance, on January 16, 2000, his car was found in the parking lot of Little Pig's Barbecue restaurant in Asheville. The vehicle contained some strange details from the night of Zeb's disappearance. On the rear window of Zeb's car, a kiss mark and an exclamation point were drawn in red lipstick. Additionally, items that didn't belong to Zeb were found in the car. One of them was a live puppy, which, according to Zeb's family, had no particular significance in his life. The car also contained various soda cans, empty water bottles, and footprints. This suggested that someone or multiple people had entered the car and spent time there. Investigators noted that the driver's seat was adjusted too far forward for Zeb. Upon examining the car, the police noticed mud marks under the hood. The vehicle appeared to have been driven to other locations or through rough terrain before the disappearance. After the night of the incident, Robert Jason Owens was questioned by the police. Owens didn't go to work on the night of Zeb's disappearance and made intriguing statements during this period. He claimed he had been in a car accident that night and had to go to the hospital. However, he gave contradictory statements about how the accident happened or why he needed to go to the hospital. Even more interesting was that damages and mud marks were also found in Owens' car. Robert Jason Owens couldn't fully explain or provide a satisfactory explanation for his behavior of calling Walmart, posing as Zeb, and saying he couldn't come to work. This behavior was a significant source of suspicion in the police investigation from the start. Owens made many contradictory statements regarding Zeb's disappearance and remained silent on various topics. This led to increased suspicions about his role in Zeb's disappearance. Owens' actions were also interpreted as an attempt to manipulate the investigation and divert attention elsewhere. However, because he didn't provide a full confession and gave contradictory explanations, this was one of the factors that made solving the case difficult. In the 23 years following Zeb's disappearance, the case remained a cold case. A cold case is a term used for cases that remain unsolved or stagnant for a long time. Such cases are put on hold until new evidence emerges. Robert Jason Owens' role in Zeb Quinn's disappearance was partially clarified through his plea deal and confessions in 2022, but the case still contains a number of uncertainties and contradictions. Owens confessed that he didn't personally kill Zeb, but helped those involved in the murder and admitted his guilt. His defense claimed that Owens was manipulated by his uncle, Walter Gene Owens. According to this theory, the incident was motivated by a love triangle. It was claimed that Gene Owens was hired by a woman named Tamra Taylor to lure Zeb into a trap. Gene had taken on this task out of jealousy and resentment toward Tamra Taylor's partner. As part of the plan, Zeb was lured to a wooded area through Robert Jason Owens and ambushed and killed there by Gene Owens. According to Owens' statement, Gene Owens dismembered and burned the body in the forest after Zeb's murder. Owens said some parts of the body were hidden in the wooded area known as Bent Creek Experimental Forest. Based on these claims, authorities conducted extensive searches in the Bent Creek area, but couldn't find any body parts. In his 2015 statement, Owens claimed Zeb's skull was hidden under a large rock. Later, however, he confessed to personally carrying out this act, making a statement contradictory to his initial one. Owens' constantly changing statements raised serious doubts about his credibility and further complicated solving the case. In addition to Zeb Quinn's case, accusations of complicity in Owens' murder of another couple in 2017 heightened suspicions about his involvement in Zeb's disappearance. In 2017, Owens had killed a couple named Christy and Joseph Codd, dismembering and burning their bodies. This method of murder showed similarities to the traces seen in Zeb's disappearance case. Prosecutors believed Owens could be Zeb Quinn's direct murderer. However, the long passage of time had led to the loss of direct evidence. Therefore, Owens tried to weaken this theory by arguing that he was under his uncle's influence and was only an accomplice in the incident, rather than being directly accused of murder. Meanwhile, Uncle Gene Owens died of natural causes in 2017, so he could not be arrested or tried in connection with these allegations. Owens was sentenced to life in prison. This sentence is being served concurrently with the life sentence Owens received in 2017 for the double murder. Owens' contradictory statements, the love triangle claim, and the methods of body disposal made the case difficult to solve. The authorities' efforts to lift the entire veil of mystery behind the incident, along with Owens' punishment and confession, provided at least partial closure to the case. However, Zeb's body or more concrete evidence is still missing. The mystery behind this case remains unresolved with many uncertainties and speculations. Gene Owens' death from a heart attack in 2017 was accepted as one of the most significant obstacles in the case. The defense's argument that the claims and all details of the murder couldn't be fully investigated due to the uncle's death became an important point for the defense and strengthened Robert Jason Owens' claims of complicity. Zeb's mother, Denise Vlahakis, frequently emphasized throughout the case, from the day of her son's disappearance, his innocent and trusting personality, that he was a helpful and beloved young man, and stated that Owens lured him into a trap through betrayal of his trust, costing him his life. Denise remembered her son with these words: "This young man was someone loved and trusted by his family, friends, and community. If he hadn't trusted Owens, he might still be with us today." These statements from Denise further amplified the case's impact on the public. His mother expressed the pain she felt over the loss of Zeb's life due to Owens' abuse of his innocence, and stated that she felt justice had not been fully achieved. Zeb Quinn's disappearance took its place as one of the most perplexing cases in North Carolina's history. Although Robert Jason Owens' confession changed the course of the case, many unanswered questions remain behind the incident. The true cause of Zeb's death, how the incident unfolded, and all the details behind the murder could never be fully clarified. The authorities did not declare the case closed, and the resolution of the incident remained incomplete in light of new information. At the same time, it remained a traumatic event in the memories of the North Carolina community. The fact that Zeb, with his innocence and trusting personality, met such a dark end, etched itself into memories as an event where justice couldn't be fully achieved. Even today, The community wonders about Zeb, Quinn's fate, and the secrets behind the incident. Owen's confession of complicity fuels this curiosity and continues its existence. This investigation remains an unforgettable wound in the community's spirit as the veil of mystery behind the incident is lifted.